Do you want to hear a joke? How overlooked Jinx on the PlayStation 1 is. While no means is it a masterpiece, this, a fun little game, was only released in Europe, and in 2003, almost 2.5 years after PlayStation 2 released, meaning its market was never really all it should have been, much smaller than it needed to be. Now here's the interesting part. This game was developed by a studio called Hammerhead Limited. Hammerhead were founded by Traveller's Tales, and they made 4 PlayStation 1 games, with Jinx being their swan song, before they had to go back to Traveller's Tales when things probably didn't go too well. Now doomed to a life of making Lego games, like the rest of Traveller's Tales.
So you'll want to know the story of Jinx. Well, too bad there isn't one. Technically there is, but it's not one I would tell to entertain. The game starts with Jinx entering an empty room to be told the royal family and all their staff have gone missing, while all the citizens of the kingdom have been driven mad. The last part, however, is a falsehood, a lie told by the game, as most citizens you meet are completely sane enough to ask for favours anyway. But enough of that, back to the story. Our new friend claims the only reason he is safe is because of the machine, which has granted him some form of protection. Whatever the machine is, I don't know, as I don't think the game ever really explained it, that or I didn't pay enough attention. As you play through the game, you're told that pirates have invaded and kidnapped the royal family. As for the staff, it just turns out they saw this as an opportunity and left for a break. They all went on their jolly holidays. Work-shy layabouts, a lot of them. At the end of the game, it just casually tosses out that the pirates have been working with the royal wizard, who has found a magical artifact that will allow him to rule the world. Nothing imaginative here, and thrown in far too late to really be built up as a threat. So after the basic introduction, and I do mean basic, there were no cutscenes, just 2 guys stood in an empty room having a quick chinwag. You're taken to what I believe is the machine. It's a big compass looking thing that opens doors to various stages. The game has 6 worlds, each containing 3 stages. At the end of the 3rd stage, right by the exit, called a wind portal, is a wind gem that is used by the machine to open the door to the next set of stages. These stages are as such: the castle grounds, the tribal grounds, the graveyard. Oh, and this one really does it for me. It's like one of those ghost trains or scare mazes you get in the theme parks around Halloween. You then get Egypt, you get under the sea. There's no signs of Ariel. I guess one of the mines must have got her. Either that or the kingdom was overtaken by the reverse fish people in some kind of uprising. And then a pirate cove. Being a jester, Jinx can't do a lot. He can jump, attack, ground pound and throw objects. However, a game doesn't need to give you a lot of abilities to be good, and Jinx is proof of that. Most of the game is just platforming action, and Jinx controls rather well, jumps are easy to manage, and I was always sure if I'd be able to make one or knew roughly where I could land. When it came to throwing things, this wasn't difficult either. The game is rather generous with the area of effect of items, so it was usually easy to hit with them. Jinx is mostly a platformer. You can get through most of the game simply by running and jumping, and this never feels impossible, though a few points it does feel a little bit unfair, but that never lasts for long. The game features a little bit of combat, but this is super simple, usually only requiring a few hits to kill an enemy, and this is only really required on bosses and a few enemies that may be carrying keys or other required items that you may need to progress. Throughout the worlds are NPCs that will ask for favours, which usually require collecting things for them. The first to do this will tell you that it's necessary to proceed, but from memory there are only 2 NPCs that are required to actually beat the game. This one at the start and one right at the end. If you don't care about getting the best ending, you can ignore 95% of them. Now comes my favourite bit, the part of the video where I get to tut loudly at the game. This time, however, I don't get to tut very much. Jinx is very much a platformer, and it's rather good at that. It does, however, have a strange difficulty curve. The difficulty rises normally for the first 2 worlds, only to rise harshly on the world 3. Following this, world 4 is insultingly easy and basically just throws lives at you. This once again rises a steady pace for world 5, only for another drastic increase during the final few stages. The game's a real roller coaster in this aspect. So how do I conclude this Jinx video? If you enjoy 3D platformers, particularly those from the PS1 era, then this game may be for you. It doesn't command the largest of price tags, and if you're in Europe, shouldn't be too difficult to track down. If what you saw in this video intrigues you, then give it a shot. Just keep your expectations tempered. Do you remember Jinx or any other game that no one else does? Let me know in the comments, and if you want more, please like and subscribe.